We do not yet have a quorum present, so we're going to operate as a subcommittee. First up is Senator Hough with Thomas Prater. Senator Hough, whenever you're ready.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, appreciate the time this morning, and it is my pleasure to carry the nomination from Governor Kehoe of Thomas Prater for the State Board of Education. Usually whenever I do these, and I don't do them a lot, it's interesting to me how few people actually seem to live in the city limits of Springfield. But I don't usually just go through all, in my opinion, the credentials of the folks that have been nominated, but I speak more to the character and I believe the job that this specific nominee would do, but also others in the past. Mr. Prater is an eye surgeon. He's a named partner at the Maddox New Prater Eye Center in Springfield. Has done that, I think, for 30-ish, probably plus years. Obviously a graduate of a couple of different universities in Missouri. Married to his wife, Kim. They've been friends of my family and, quite frankly, neighbors for a number of years. And it's always humbling when you have folks of the character that Tom has that are willing to serve in these capacities, because I know we sign up for these jobs and we run for these elections, but a lot of times folks like Tom Prater are, quite frankly, asked by others to come in and serve in these roles. And again, I'm not going to belabor the point, but it is absolutely my pleasure to carry his nomination for Governor Kehoe for the State Board of Education, and more than happy to answer any questions from the committee, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions for the nominee? Senator Moon.
First, a comment to the sponsor.
Sure.
I was stopped this morning and recognized as Senator Hough.
You were?
I said, wait just a second. I'm
Wait a minute.
not eligible for GQ magazine.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
Maybe you'll see
In
the
fact,
fellow later.
whoever said that to you, Senator, might have needed the services of the eye surgeon sitting to my right.
That's possibly true. And now to Dr. Prater. I think I may have mentioned when we saw each other last year that probably it's been 44 years ago, maybe, as a result of Bill Barkley. Denise, my wife, and I house sat for your parents.
Right.
I don't know that we knew each other then, or even just till recently, I guess. But in any case, that's where our relationship started, I reckon. But in any case, last year when we spoke, we had a good conversation, and since that time, I've received some opposition, primarily from the Southwest Missouri area. And you mentioned a name earlier today when we met this morning, and that person is involved in the opposition. There are some others as well. After we talked, I needed some more answers, so I made some contacts, and some of those things I'm not going to mention by question because I want to talk to you privately on some of those things. However, one specific part was with regard to United Springfield. That was a PAC that I believe you started. Is that correct?
I was on the steering committee when the PAC started. It was started by Terry McCreery, who's very active in the Republican Party, and Jim Anderson, who's very active in the Democratic Party, and they wanted a nonpartisan PAC to look for candidates. Yeah,
and this morning you mentioned that you had distanced yourself from the PAC, but I came across some recent donations to candidates who were not supported by the GOP, and you might have answered the question because it was kind of a joint PAC to support both liberal and conservative candidates. Would that be correct?
Well, I don't think the PAC really looked into political affiliations, political parties with the candidates. I think when I wasn't present for any of the interviews, but when they interviewed the candidates, I think they were looking at education issues, and ability to serve as a board member,
Yeah.
but not political ideology.
Okay, good. And we also talked briefly about Governor Kehoe's intent to rid the states, at least, well, the entire state actually, from DEI-related activities. And that would include the schools as well. And that led me to my memory of your support for Dr. Jungmann with the Springfield Public Schools superintendent. If I'm not correct, not mistaken, he advocated vociferously for DEI inclusion, and there was a pretty large expenditure. I think it was like $1 million that they put toward that, the implementation. Part of that was the introduction of the Chromebooks, I think, which I guess there's both sides of that argument. I think most today would see some positive, but there's a lot of negative too. And so I guess the question really, I should hone in on the DEI. So tell me, if you will, how it relates with regard to your support for Dr. Jungmann, knowing that he promoted DEI then, and now we have a governor who's wanting to rid the state. So explain that, if you will.
Sure, happy to. I was on the school board when we hired him as superintendent. Our previous superintendent retired to go visit grandchildren more often. Hired John. He was by far the most experienced and qualified candidate that we interviewed. But there weren't many candidates out there. Anyway, John was hired. My term on the school board ended 2 months later. So I really had very little supervisory experience with him. From what I understand, and it kind of comes secondhand because I wasn't on the board then, he did some sort of DEI training for the staff that was received poorly by the staff and canceled it. So I don't know what they're doing now because and it's a new superintendent now, he's gone. So I don't remember any kind of DEI discussions coming up in our interviews with him that would have given us any indication one way or the other where he stood on that. And Governor Kehoe's made it pretty clear in his inaugural address that DEI is done in the state.
I would like to follow up in person with some other things that I don't want to bring up over the air, but I appreciate your answers there.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
I'll be ready to talk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any further questions for the nominee?
Yes.
Senator Mosley.
So, follow up, you don't feel that diversity is important?
Well, I feel, I'm going to be right between the two of you. The governor said DEI is not going to be in the state. Now, I gave an example to, maybe it was somebody else yesterday, of when I was on the school board in Springfield. And we had 2 people applying for a coaching job at one of the high schools. And the high school was predominantly black. The players were predominantly black, and we had 2 equally qualified people. Well, what would have made sense was to hire the black football coach, and that didn't happen. And my question was why? Why could you have not built on that culture for that football team? Didn't happen. They lost. They finally did the right thing and hired a new coach.
Okay. Well, as I spoke with many of you who are up for nomination today for the state board, all the districts are pretty diverse, so you need to know how to effectively support each area of diversity. So diversity is very important to understand, which is what DEI is about, understanding the diversity of different people.
Right.
It's not about giving a hand up to anybody. It's about understanding the diversity of each and every culture and race. And it's amazing to me that this body has no problem with certain races doing legislation for them, but when it comes to blacks, it's a problem. And that's all I have to say.
Any further questions for the nominee? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve. Next up is Senator Bernskoetter nominee Kenneth Brooks Miller with State Board of Education.
Oh, thank you, Anthony. Brooks Miller here has a impressive 42-year career in the healthcare industry. He has a master's in education administration and also a business administration. He was born and raised in Kirksville. He spent 18 years there serving in various capacities, including executive director of the Northeast Missouri Health Council, overseeing 130 community health centers. Then he spent 22 years working in Springfield. He was founding president and CEO for 2 FQHCs in Missouri, including the largest FQHC, Jordan Valley Community Health Center in Missouri, and 18th in the country. He has vast experience in the healthcare industry, and he is ever mindful of the importance of a good elementary, secondary education as the basis for develop strong healthcare employees that serve throughout our state. And he'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the nominee? Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Pleasure to meet you.
Certainly, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I didn't get a chance with Mr. Prater, but I'm very interested in our State Board of Education.
Mm-hmm.
In the region I represent in St. Louis, I take in several school districts, including Riverview Gardens, Normandy School District, and also some of the better performing ones like Clayton as well as Ladue school districts. So I'd love to have an opportunity to get to know you both. It's a board I think is very, very important. I think post-pandemic, you all are going to have to continue to make some really difficult decisions, and I just want to make sure we stay engaged on ways that my office can be supportive to you.
Certainly. And I will do so. I'd had an opportunity yesterday to speak at length with Senator Mosley, and we talked about the St. Louis schools, and all schools are different and unique. So quite honestly, I'm more than happy to speak with you should I be confirmed.
Yeah, absolutely. And last thing, with your background with the federally qualified health centers, I serve on the board for one as well.
Oh, okay, good.
I think there's a lot of unique perspective that you can bring in terms of wraparound services.
Yes.
And partnerships and some collaboration between some of the FQHC throughout the state and the school districts as well.
Correct. Totally agree with you. And I think that we really kind of go hand in hand in serving the children. It's hard to teach a child that has a toothache, for instance, or has some kind of an illness. So you're exactly right. There's a lot of unique.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mr. Miller. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator Moon.
Mr. Miller, thank you again for your coming by to the office today. Just for the sake of those listening, I saw your name yesterday, and I wonder if this could be the same Brooks Miller that I know from Springfield, and it turns out you are. We talked briefly about Ozark, Nixa school districts, and then Republic as well, who have some pretty innovative ideas on how to expose students to different professions without having them commit to something, and you're not mainstreaming, and there's no requirement for them to continue. But I just wanted to point out for those who are listening, even outside this building, that these three school districts, and I know particularly Ozark and Nixa, I haven't visited Republic, but I know their Superintendent Matt probably is on the same track, that these are, I think, models that others in the state should come and visit, take a look and see if there's something they could implement in their own school districts. And if you want to say something about those, I'd like to hear your thoughts. In addition, I do have a question with regard to the work that you did in the medical industry, how you are serving the needs of those who might have been underserved and not able to afford the services without some assistance. There is some evidence of that in the school systems too. So how does that experience help you in maybe shaping, since you're not in it yet, but shaping your decisions that you make on how education of our students across the state is driven. So two things, the innovation centers that Ozark, Nixa have, and Republic perhaps, and then how can we adjust our the way that we serve students across the state, given all the difference in economic conditions.
Do you want me to answer both of those?
If you want to.
I certainly, we can certainly tackle them, and we talked about it in your office. I consider myself really blessed to have a 42-year career of taking care of low-income people within our state. Our medical programs were specifically targeted at the low-income individuals below 200% of poverty. I think that, from my perspective, and I'll be repeating some of the things we talked about in our previous discussion. It is hard, I think, first off, as I shared with Senator Mosley, not all things are the same. And if we look at schools, each one are independent and have certain characteristics that another school may not have. And we talked about flexibility within the system, and is there the possibility to do that? I think what I would see as priorities is the communication and development of an understanding of those certain characteristics and how we best address them. I can't read my writing here. What was your second question that you wanted to kind of touch on? The innovation centers. When I went through high school, and
my
graduated.
Point there, Brooks, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but was just to let people know that they're there.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm not sure if you've seen them yet either. You probably have Republic,
Yeah.
perhaps, but come down and take a look and see
No.
what they've got going.
And I would just say, and I didn't share this, in 1973 when I was a junior in high school, and 1974 when I graduated high school, I was in our building trades program for 2 years, which was a VOTEC program, and we built houses. Each year we built houses and things. Now, I didn't go down that as far as a career, but at the same time, I think it helped develop my skill set for what I have today. And it was very helpful. So I think there's an importance of schools not standing alone in a community, but developing relationships. And we worked very hard at both places I was at to develop the relationships with the school, recognizing that we serve very similar populations and the importance of it. And I think the innovation, I think we need to look at innovation and training in a much broader sense, knowing that issues like IT and jobs of the future will not require that training that oftentimes we think about as far as a 4-year degree and such. But those are perfect examples.
Any further questions for the nominee? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Senator Bernskoetter will keep you around. We're going to go next to Tom Werdenhause for the State Board of Healing Arts.
Thanks, Harrison. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Tom Werdenhause here for the State Board of Healing Arts. Quite frankly, I've known Tom, if not all of my life, most of my life. We went to church together, go to church together. We have boys that are the same age. He graduated from Central Missouri University. Was the manager at the electric co-op. He worked for the Public Service Commission. He's been on several boards with the State Tech. He was on the foundation board. He's been on several boards with the cooperatives, electric cooperatives. And quite frankly, I think he'd be a great member for any board or commission that the governor would like him to be on, and he'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the nominee? Seeing none, you got off easy. Senator Moon, going once, going twice. Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.
Next up is Stephen Oslica. Senator McCreery, whenever you're ready. This is for the Missouri Community Service Commission.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's my great honor to present my constituent, Steve Oslica. He, quite frankly, is overqualified for the role that he's been chosen for. He's looking to serve our state once again, this time on the Missouri Community Service Commission. I know all of you have read your information about Steve. I just wanted to emphasize one thing that I think makes him qualified and then some for this position. He has had a very successful, productive business career, but even with all of that, he is serving as a foster parent right now for a 15-year-old who goes to school in my district as well. I just wanted to emphasize that. I think sometimes it's easy for people to, publicly put on a show that they're willing to do whatever it takes to make our state and community better. But Steve has, taken on something that very few families will do in the state of Missouri. So it's my honor to sponsor and support Steve, and I'm sure he's happy to take some questions.
Any questions for the nominee? Senator Mosley.
How you doing?
Good morning.
What will you be doing as the on a community service commission? I really never heard of it.
I have not been assigned specific duties yet. However, it's my understanding that while we await the government efficiency initiatives in D.C. And what that impact might be to us from a financial point of view, I may be deployed in an effort to secure more private funding for our group. But that's yet to be determined.
Okay.
Is that because of AmeriCorps money?
Yeah, AmeriCorps money is affected.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? I didn't hear the last thing.
I'm sorry?
I didn't hear what you just said.
Oh, the AmeriCorps money is at risk
Okay.
as we stand today. It may not be at risk eventually, but we don't know.
Okay. So do you all do community service events or something? I'm just trying to understand what community service commission does.
Well,
or you just do things to serve the community.
the website I think it's housed in the DED website. Basically, will take you through and tell you exactly what our clients and who our clients are and what they do. They're basically volunteer-driven organizations that need funding. It could be a school district, a small college, a private interest group, all of those things. It involves applying through the staff and then getting board approval to distribute those funds.
Okay.
When I was called to sit on this commission, a light bulb went on in my head about how I might be able to help some of the organizations in my own community in St. Louis to help them along with some of the state assistance.
Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Steve, good to see you.
Good to see you again.
I wanted to, thank you for your willingness to serve. I think you're going to be in a unique position. I'm sure Senator McCreery and I could relate on how important it is to advance the St. Louis region, considering how much it drives the economy for our state. I think you'll be able to bring some really innovative ideas, especially with your background also leading Hawthorne Foundation. I'm sure a lot of people here understand the work that takes, pulling business leaders together and advocating for our state. So I think you'll do a really good job, and I hope that you use this as an opportunity to kind of be a resource to myself, and I'm sure many of my colleagues on ways we can be helpful as well.
Thank you very much. My mother's a product of North St. Louis, and my 2 children are city residents as well. So I lived in Pennsylvania for 8 years, transferred back here in 2015, and it's always nice to be home. And Cardinals won last night, so that's even better.
Well, I need you to figure out.
Sorry,
how to
I know
get
some of you may not vote for me now, but
you figure out how to get these Blues out of the hole, and
we'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow, won't we?
Yeah. But thanks for your willingness, and seriously, stay engaged, because I think the work you've done in the past would be tremendous here, but I think we could take it even further with various parts of our state.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further questions for the nominee? Senator Moon.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
Tell me a little bit about more about AmeriCorps. I'm not all too familiar with, but I remember during the Joplin tornado, there was a fairly large contingent of AmeriCorps representatives there. And so tell me what, from your experience, AmeriCorps is all about.
Well, I think as I recall, it was about 31 years ago. It was kind of inspired by the Peace Corps, but it was an initiative that President Clinton really pushed for after he was inaugurated. So I think he was inaugurated in '93, and I think AmeriCorps was up and running by '94. And they have a wide, diverse range of funding services they provide. Frankly, I have not done a lot of research on it other than what it relates to here in our state. But it doesn't surprise me at all that they jumped in with both feet when the Joplin thing happened. I was living out of state then, but clearly there was a need, and I'm glad they did.
And I wonder, the organizations that the Service Commission will expend funds to, is there any oversight on how the funds are spent, and seeing kind of a dollar for dollar to see if the funds are actually used in a good way?
I'll confess I'll get that question answered later, but I'll have to check with staff on that.
I remember just after I asked that you haven't gotten your feet in the door yet, but yeah, I understand. Okay, well hopefully that will be done, because I think, is AmeriCorps one of the organizations that requires service? If you join it, you're required a certain number of hours.
I think it mirrors kind of what the Peace Corps started as, but it's more domestic oriented, I think. So.
Okay. Well, I'd like to learn more from your perspective on what happens to the monies, and if they're just given and there's no follow-up to see how they're spent. But
I will stay in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any further questions for the nominee? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve.
You're welcome.
Last but not least, we have Bernskoetter, who's doing, Brian Strider for the Missouri Agricultural and Small Business Development Authority. Senator Gregory, whenever you're ready.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thanks for having us in here today. Senator Curtis Gregory, District 21, here to present Brian Strider for the Masbito Board. I was told I needed to lighten the mood in the room a little bit by some people sitting back there. So lots of folks have talked about how they met the person that they're helping try and get an appointment today. Well, I still have to meet Mr. Strider over here at like probably 12:30 in the morning after a thrashing of Nebraska in 2007 on Faroe Field. He was in the locker room with one Corby Jones. Whenever Corby Jones brings someone in, it's like, well, I definitely need to meet that person because Corby's kind of important in Mizzou history, and this person was Brian. And so we just kind of had kept in touch then. The part of the country he's from is up near Bramer. Had a kid from Bramer, Colin Brown, and Brian actually played quarterback a little bit in college, if you can tell he's more like offensive lineman now. But so we share that football background, but also farming. Fifth-generation farmer up in Ray County. runs in his blood. If you see his resume, which I think you all should have in front of you, that's what he's done his entire life. And I had to chuckle to myself because he had farmer listed since 1986. Well, it's been exactly 38 years because that's the year I was born. I think he would be a phenomenal addition to the MASBTA board based on his background and business dealings he's been involved in with, and forward thinking when it comes to agriculture and trying to move the state forward in a positive direction, working through the Small Business Development Authority, otherwise known as MASBTA. So with that, I have to take any questions.
Any questions for this nominee? Senator Bean.
Great to have you here today. Sorry about your sponsor there. He give you a little grief there. But in today's environment and understanding the MASBTA programs, how important do you think those programs are in this environment that we're currently in, and do you think they're enough?
They're very important, the environment. As we live in agriculture today, it's tough out here. Farmers are struggling, and I believe that anything we can do to help promote agriculture, move it forward, and keep it flowing in a positive way is very important. And is there enough? I can't answer that question yet because I haven't seen everything that's in front of me.
I know. I just think it's concerning to me, just like with our beginning farmer programs and stuff, is to get farmers involved, get young people involved in farming. It's just, golly, what a tough environment, and with interest rates and cost of machinery, so it's really, really tough. But it's just very concerning to me. So
It is concerning, and as we look across the nation of farms, as you look at farmers over 65. There's a large percentage of farmers that are over 65 years old, and if you look behind them, there's no one behind them, and where's their legacy going to go? I believe that's where the young farm programs to help these guys get started and help them get a leg up, if you will, that's where we can help them move forward.
Appreciate your willingness to serve and look forward to all the good things you're going to do. Thank you.
Any further questions for the nominee? Seeing none, thank you for your willingness to serve. That is the last nominee. I would now, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll so we can establish quorum.
Senators O'Laughlin, Lutemeyer,
Here.
Bean, Beck, Bratton, Brown, Berger, Moon, Mosley, Roberts, Williams.
We do have a quorum. I now make a motion that we go into executive session. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those contrary, no. The ayes have it. We are in executive session. I would now make a motion to roll all of the nominees into a single slate. Do I have a second? Second. Senator Moon. There's been a motion made by Senator Moon to vote on Mr. Prater separately. The chair does not object to that, so I would make a motion that we roll into a slate all nominees except for Mr. Prater and to vote by one motion. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those contrary, no. The ayes have it. There's one no. The ayes have it. I would now make a motion that we do pass the slate. Do I have a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator, you might want to turn your microphone on. And then if you want to ask Senator,
I wanted to know why Senator Moon wanted him separated.
Since my first meeting with Dr. Prater in my office last year when he was nominated by Governor Parson, there have been numerous comments for opposition from the 7th Congressional District. And so today when I met with Dr. Prater, I mentioned that to him, and I have since followed up with some of the comments. And I presented some of the opposition statements during my questions. I'm not sure if you were here during that time or not.
I was here the
but
whole time.
there are other. I'm sorry.
I said I was here before you were, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I was in here before you were, but go ahead.
I'm not sure what that meant, but
you said,
in any case,
I don't know if you were here, so I'm telling you I was here before you were, but go ahead.
In any case, there have been some concerns, and so I want to ensure that there's sufficient time to navigate through those concerns to make sure that I'm making the right decision, and that other senators who have also voiced their concerns are communicated with and get to share the findings that I have and perhaps they are looking into as well.
Okay, and will you be sharing those things with the committee as well?
I'd be happy to. If you're interested, you can look me up before session, or I will try to find you if you're interested.
Well, apparently I'm interested.
I'll make that happen.
All right, the pending motion before the body that's already been seconded is to vote on the slate. It is one motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators O'Laughlin, Luetkemeyer.
Aye.
Bean. Beck. Bratton. Brown. Berger. Moon. Mosley. Roberts. Williams.
By your vote of 6-0, you have voted the slate do pass. I would now make a motion to bring before the committee as a separate vote Mr. Prater for the State Board of Education. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those contrary, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Prater is before the committee. I would now make a motion to vote do pass Mr. Prater's nomination. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators O'Laughlin, Luetkemeyer.
Aye.
Bean. Beck. Bratton. Brown. Berger. Moon. Mosley. Roberts. Williams.
By your vote of 5-1, you have voted do pass Mr. Prater to the State Board of Education. I would now make a motion that we exit executive session. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those contrary, no. The ayes have it. We're out of executive session. I would now make a motion that we adjourn. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those contrary, no. The ayes have it. We are out of executive session.